Hey yo, football fans, it's another great year. Fantasy football fiends, grab your beer. Giving you the best draft tips for all your picks. Starts and sits to the waiver wire fix. From my drafts galore to stats that's hardcore. Triple F does it all, have y'all screaming more. So sit back, relax, let the experts prevail. JT Magnum, Ziggy Guns never fail.
What is up, Fantasy Football Fiends? My name is Ziggy Guns along with
JT Magnum.
And this week we're going to do our pick'ems, recap Thursday night's game, which was a thriller. No, my Jets couldn't make the comeback. I was actually surprised that they played, okay. Geno Smith is a rookie. I expected interceptions to be his problem this year. And, what do you think about the game?
I thought it was a really horrible game, and it was just so boring. I think I fell asleep twice, maybe two or three times during it. I did like that Brady was getting frustrated. It was kind of funny watching him yell on the sidelines, which I didn't understand. Yeah. Like, why was he yelling at his receivers? I mean, I get that they're new and everything, but why not communicate with your receivers, not yell at them? Like, they're still rookies. They're still new. They're still getting used to them. There's no use in yelling. I mean, I get it. You're a Super Bowl winning quarterback. You're good. You're Tom Brady. But yelling at your receivers and acting like a little stupid kid isn't going to help you. Like, it obviously didn't really do much because nobody but Edelman was really doing anything. I mean, Dobson had that reception, but he was wide open.
Nah, yeah, that's true. I mean, it's just, he's just going to have to know that there's just too many rookies on that team. I mean, you lost Gronkowski. You lost, what's his name? That was the receiver that's a free agent now. I forgot his name already. You lost Wes Welker. That whole receiving core is literally brand new. Amendolo's hurt. He really doesn't know the offense either, even though he was getting, thrown a lot last week when he was playing. And then Edelman is really the only guy that knows the playbook, and that's probably the reason why he was thrown to him the most. But he needs to understand that, that literally that whole receiving core outside of Edelman right now in that game is brand new pretty much. He's just going to have to know that. You don't take just, a few weeks of the offense and know it right away. Ocho Cinco proved that it takes a long time to learn that very sophisticated, apparently, offense that Belichick has over there. So, I understand that, there's growing pains, and I understand his frustration because he is Tom Brady, but, yeah, I agree with you. He was getting mad for no reason, in my opinion. He's just going to have to roll with the punches. Now, on the other side, the Jets, they played – I wouldn't say they played bad, though. Not like – if you look at the two teams, everybody could see the Patriots struggling. The Jets – they weren't struggling. They're just not as good as the Patriots. But that doesn't mean they didn't have their opportunities. They could have. Yeah. At the very end, it just looked like Geno Smith he thought he was in college, it looked like. He was trying to do like these floaters, like he thought he had the touch, and he just kind of like tossed it up there like it was just going to go right into a receiver's hand. And all of a sudden he looks up and there's three Patriots there to catch that ball. So it just growing pains that we have to go through as a rookie quarterback. I understand it. I would have been happy with the win, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I just didn't. I didn't think that they helped Geno Smith out at all in that game. I know he struggled. He's gonna struggle. He's a rookie. I get it, but the receivers, in my opinion, when he did put it in there, you could see it in slow motion. They're closing their eyes to catch the ball because they're a little bit in traffic. So they're just closing their eyes. How do you close your eyes and catch a football in the NFL? It doesn't work like that. One guy I will point out, and I was tweeting about it, Clyde Gates. I think he dropped at least 7 or 8 balls. I saw him drop numerous balls, and not only that, he looked chicken to even catch the balls when he had a chance. And I think why he was still out there, I have no clue. They got to have somebody else to put in the game, but he is absolutely horrible. He was not helping Geno Smith out whatsoever. But
Jeremy Curley was out. That's usually the guy that plays the spot. Yeah, injuries also, rookie receivers also, and really the only veteran there is Santonio Holmes, and he's hurt too. So he's playing though, but you could just tell. And then he should have been throwing to Winslow more. He was in the first week. I think he should have used him more, in my opinion. But
yeah,
Yeah, fantasy wise, let's go ahead and talk about fantasy players that you might want to pick up from that game. Obviously, on the Patriots side, if you have, we already told you to pick Edelman. He was the only player that really did anything. Everybody else on that team, though, no. Aside
Yeah.
from Brady and Edelman, and obviously Amendola when he comes back, no, until Gronkowski comes back. On the Jets side, though, nobody probably drafted a Jet. I can understand it. Maybe somebody picked up a Winslow after last week's performance, not necessarily this week. But on the Jets, there might be some players worth at least a deep, bench, especially on the running back side with Powell. I call that. I thought Bill Powell was going to be somebody that might eventually win the job. Chris Ivory was hurt, and he's going to get time to prove himself. And he got that goal line touch, and I actually liked the way the offense was moving with Powell more so than Ivory. I think eventually, though, Ivory will take over and be the back for the Jets. But it wouldn't hurt to have him right now if you desperately need a running back, or if you have a situation like where you have Redmond for the Steelers who isn't doing anything anyways. Might as well try luck with Powell. What do you think?
I agree completely. There's nobody on the Patriots really worth picking up except for Edelman right now, and I'm sure everybody already did last week. So, and if you did a good job because obviously he got 12 catches or something. But and Bilal Powell, he actually ran hard. Chris Ivory looked like an idiot out there. I was watching and he just didn't look like he even knew how to run the ball. I really wasn't. I stay away from the Jets running backs, but if you're in need of a running back and you need a starter, Bilal Powell is a good guy to pick up if you don't have anybody else. Obviously, it's good to pick up starters in the fantasy football. I mean, people that are going to run the ball a lot. So and the Jets need to run. So
yeah, they do.
Judging by what I saw. But we're going to get into our pick'ems of the week. Last week, Siggy beat me. I went 8-7. He went 11-4. But I got revenge in the fantasy football game that we had against each other. We're actually in a fantasy football league together. We're going for a championship ring, and the first game was against each other, and I was able to come on top thanks to a pretty big game by pretty last-second touchdowns by RG3, actually. He's sucking it up for me, and then at the end, he helped me out. But yeah.
It was Victor Cruz, though, that destroyed me, right?
Victor Cruz had a great game.
Yeah,
so,
that is, yeah.
Yeah. So,
that's all right.
What's the first game on the schedule?
All right, first game on the schedule is San Diego at Philadelphia. What you got there, JT?
I like Philly because San Diego blew it against Houston, and I think Philly's offense is going to be a little too much for San Diego, and that pass rush looked very good, so I see Philly winning.
I'm going to pick Philadelphia also. I think that offense is going to be fine later on. Looked like they might have tired a little bit at the end, but it's going to be too much for San Diego. The way I look at it is Philip Rivers isn't better than RG3, and RG3 played pretty well in the second half, but Philadelphia should win this game easily. All right, second game, Carolina at Buffalo. What you got? It's going to be a close one.
I like the Bills because they're at home. I know Carolina's defense is really, really good, and they stopped that Seattle attack, but I just think the Bills are going to play well at home, and EJ Manuel he looks pretty good. And I think maybe the Bills might open up some holes for Spiller, but I still think Carolina's going to shut them down.
See, I think Carolina's defense is going to shut Spiller down, and that's why I'm going to pick Carolina. I think Cam Newton's going to feel that pressure. Out of all the quarterbacks this year, I think he has the most pressure to prove himself. So I think he's going to make a statement in this game. I have Carolina beating Buffalo. St. Louis at Atlanta. What you got?
I like Atlanta. I think Steven Jackson's going to have a really good game. I think they can't stop Matt Ryan. And I think Steven Jackson's going to run wild against his former team. Usually that kind of happens. When you face your former team, you get all hyper, and the team wants you to do well. They're going to block well for him this week, and he's going to have a good game.
I agree. Atlanta looked pretty well against the Saints. They had a chance to win the game, and it just didn't work out. I think at home they're going to see themselves even play even better. St. Louis is a pretty good team. They're a pretty tough foe, but Atlanta should be able to beat them. I see Atlanta winning that game. All right, Washington at Green Bay. What you got?
I like Green Bay at home. I think RG3 still has a little bit of rust to kick off. I know he looked good in the second half against Philly, but Green Bay's defense did play San Francisco well. I know they gave up a lot of yards, but they did play San Francisco really well. But in the end, I think too much Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Redskins have enough to stop him in that offense. That offense is ridiculous.
I agree. I agree. I picked Green Bay also. Not Washington looked pretty well the second half. If they play like that the whole game, then I might be inclined to say okay they have a shot against Green Bay. But it took a lot of Kaepernick to beat this Green Bay team, and I don't see RG3 playing to that kind of level, especially now at Green Bay this time. So Green Bay has the home field advantage there. I agree. Aaron Rodgers is going to be the difference, and he's going to make the Packers win and avoid that 0-2 hole. All right, Cleveland at Baltimore. What you got?
I think this game is going to be a lot closer than people think, and that's only because Baltimore has some injuries. I know Siggy doesn't like it, but I think Cleveland could steal it. I was leaning towards Cleveland, but I think at the end Baltimore is going to win it.
I'm going to pick Baltimore. I think that game, they just looked bad because it was against Peyton Manning's unbelievable game that he had. I think Flacco played pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and pick Baltimore, though, more so because I think that at home, against a bad Cleveland, I mean, Cleveland didn't look good at all. And I think you'll see a better defensive effort against a team like Cleveland, not a team like the Broncos. So I just have Baltimore winning this game pretty easily. All right, Miami at Indianapolis. What you got?
I like Indy. I think too much Andrew Luck. I think Miami's pretty good, but they still haven't found their rushing attack yet, and I just don't see them coming to into Indy and stealing one from Andrew Luck. He just looks the part.
I agree. Andrew Luck looked pretty well last week. He looked like he's ready to just be an NFL stud. So. I mean, the Miami played well, but then again, it was against, my opinion, a bad Cleveland team. So, take it for what it's worth. Indianapolis at home. It might be a closer game than what I'm probably, thinking, but I still have the Colts winning at home. All right, Tennessee at Houston.
I like Houston. Yeah, it's pretty simple. The only reason I picked Tennessee over Pittsburgh last week is because I felt Pittsburgh was just not. They just didn't seem right in the preseason. Their offense looked horrible. And I think Tennessee stole that one. Yeah. But I don't think Tennessee.
You're the only person in America to pick Tennessee, by the way.
Outside of Tennessee.
Yeah, outside of Tennessee.
But
actually, I don't even think Tennessee knew they would.
Yeah, even like my family members looked at me and they were like, "You picked Tennessee?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Pittsburgh doesn't even look that good." So, but that was just what I saw because I saw Pittsburgh play in the preseason. I just didn't like the way they looked.
Yeah.
But I don't see Tennessee stopping a Houston ridiculous machine of offense that's Andre Johnson and Arian Foster and Ben Tate and Owen Daniels and Matt Schaub. Like that that team is good.
No.
So I don't see it happening. Houston all the way.
Yeah, we saw that second half. I picked Houston also. That second half was the real Houston, not the first half that let the Chargers look like they were going to win. But I agree with you. Houston should dominate Tennessee. They're at home. They're going to have all the confidence in the world. Tennessee's going to come in there thinking that they're hot stuff because they beat a bad Pittsburgh team. But, yeah, Houston all the way. Minnesota at Chicago. I think this was an interesting game. What do you think?
Usually I would go leaning towards Minnesota just because of Adrian Peterson, but I don't trust Christian Ponder. He just does not look good, and until I can trust him, especially on the road, I'm gonna go with Chicago and just with Brandon Marshall and Jay Cutler and Matt Forte. I don't see them beating Chicago at home.
Yeah, I picked Chicago also, more so because I agree with you. Christian Ponder just looks like it's just not going to work, out eventually. They might need to go ahead and start thinking about alternatives at the quarterback position. Chicago looked good against Cincinnati, a team that a lot of people picked to be, play pretty well this season, and they beat them. And I think that offense of Chicago will be enough to carry them over Minnesota. Maybe the defense isn't as good as what it used to be, but I think it'll be enough. So I picked Chicago also. Dallas at Kansas City. What do you think?
I like Dallas to run away with this one. I'm going to say it again. I don't think Kansas City's that good. I don't think Alex Smith is that good. I know they won over Jacksonville, but it's Jacksonville. They're not that great, and they couldn't even move the ball on offense. Alex Smith was 5 for 15 on third down. I've said it a billion times. He doesn't pass for a lot of yards, and he's horrible on third down. You can't win a game against a good team that way, and that's why the 49ers had trouble when they had Alex Smith. So I see Kansas City going down the same road, and I see Dallas smoking them, actually.
Yeah, I agree. I picked Dallas. It's not even going to be a close game. Dallas is going to destroy Kansas City. A lot of people saw that game, Kansas City. At least I shouldn't even say that. A lot of people saw the final score of the Kansas City Jacksonville game and assumed that Kansas City was good. But let's face it, that Jacksonville team is horrible. That quarterback situation is a mess. Their
Yep.
offensive line is a mess. The whole team's a mess. Kansas City looked good on paper because it wasn't the offense. Kansas City only had 170 something yards against a bad team. So that just tells you right there that Alex Smith was ineffective. That wasn't an Andy Reid type of game.
No, not at all.
Not whenever you talk about defense. So yeah, I don't see them improving though against a formidable, definitely playoff contender team like Dallas. Dallas is going to just annihilate them. I don't even see it being close. Detroit at Arizona. What you got?
I like Detroit. I think they're just a little bit tougher on defense. Arizona's tough, but I think Detroit's a little tougher on defense. That pass rush is really good, and they're going to get to Carson Palmer. So I don't see,
I agree.
I don't see them being able to beat Detroit.
I agree 100%. We saw Detroit stop Adrian Peterson after giving up that 77, 78-yard run, touchdown run.
Yep.
Shut him down. And since Arizona doesn't really have a running game, they're going to be using that front four to just put so much pressure on Palmer that Larry Fitzgerald's going to be ineffective. And in turn, I would assume that the whole offense would be in a disarray. So, and Detroit's on the other side of the ball. Reggie Bush is exactly what they needed for that offense. We saw how well that offense did against Minnesota. I don't see them being stopped by a team like Arizona. So, Detroit all the way for me also. New Orleans at Tampa Bay. What you got?
This is another one of those games that, I mean, Tampa Bay looked horrible against the Jets. I get it and everything, but you just saw New England yesterday look bad against the Jets. So is it the Jets' defense or was it Tampa Bay's offense? So New Orleans doesn't really have a defense. I'm going to say New Orleans, but it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
I'm going to pick New Orleans. I think that they look good against Atlanta. So I don't see Tampa Bay beating them. And the way I look at it is this. I know I'm not supposed to do that. Oh, they beat Atlanta, yada, yada. That was at home, whatever. Tampa Bay just don't look like they have the guts to beat a team like New Orleans. I guess that's a better way to say it. They might have the players, but they don't have the heart or the guts to beat New Orleans. And I think New Orleans is going to come in there very confident, and Tampa Bay don't look confident. So I'll go New Orleans. Jacksonville at Oakland.
Oakland.
What you got?
Oakland.
Yep.
We just said it. Jacksonville's horrible. Is there even more to discuss?
No. There is no more to discuss. Oakland all the way. Jacksonville. Oh my God, that it didn't even look like an NFL team. All right, Denver at the Giants.
I have the Giants. I just think they have the better pass rush right now. I think they have the better corners right now with Champ Bailey being injured, and they both are even on wide receivers. But I think right now the Giants have maybe the better running attack, even though they had the three-headed monster in Denver. But I think the Giants can run on Denver more or less more than the Denver Broncos can run on the Giants.
I'm going to pick Denver, and I'll tell you why I picked Denver. Giants, by far, look like they could beat the Cowboys easily. It's just they shot themselves in the foot so many times.
Yep.
And I'm just worried that they're going to do that again. They're going to either throw picks or fumbles. That's going to be a problem. Let's see if they cut it down from 6 to 3. That would be an improvement, but we're still talking about 3 turnovers. And that could be the difference with this team because any turnover with Denver, Manning can turn that into Peyton Manning. Sorry, I can't say Manning because it's the Manning Bowl. Peyton Manning can turn a turnover by Eli or the Giants into 7 or 6 points easily, 7 points with the extra point. So I'll pick Denver. It could be a shootout, though. You're right about that. San Francisco at Seattle. I know you're excited about this game. It's probably the game.
I'm not excited at all.
I'm
nervous.
You're gonna have the Pepto and all, huh?
Yep, I might not tweet at all because if I see a bad call by a ref, I'm gonna lose my mind. I have a problem with referees, and that's another story for another day. But San Fran's coming in there, a different team. I know it is in Seattle, and they get calls sometimes. Richard Sherman loves to grab or hold the receivers. I see him hold people all the time. He held Steve Smith last week and got away with it. But I watched. Trust me, I saw him holding. He loves to get away with it. I don't know how he gets away with it, but he gets away with it. Anyways, San Fran went to Seattle last year, got killed. No Justin Smith. They came off a long game against New England, which New England ran 90 plays on offense, and the 49ers defense was gassed. Last year they didn't rest their defense. They always played pretty much every down. They only subbed one player out, only on nickel situations. So the Niners were gassed. Seattle took a hold of that and beat them down. And I'm not going to make excuses. Seattle beat them down, but this is a different 49ers team that's coming in there. It's fresh earlier in the year. They're not coming off a long trip from the East Coast. So we'll see what happens this year. It's going to be interesting. I think the Niners are going to pull it out by about maybe a field goal or so.
I agree. It's going to be a very close game. One thing I noticed on both the games, San Francisco, Green Bay, and Seattle, and Carolina, was that they both were just joy of the world. And it's not about running also. They're great pocket passers, great quarterbacks, show they could do it with their arm and not necessarily their legs. I think this game is going to be the same way. They're going to each probably study for the run or that pistol, formation or whatever it is. But I think it's going to be a shootout in my opinion. But you're right about one thing. That both those defenses are built for a shootout game also to stop it. And it'll come down to the receivers. And I trust San Francisco's receivers more than Seattle's receivers. I know you like Baldwin. You picked him as a sleeper. But I think Baldwin is a better option, and they still have Vernon Davis to counter anything that they have outside of Baldwin. So I'm going to go San Francisco. I think you're right, though. It'll be a close one. 3-5 points, maybe even safety. Who knows? Pittsburgh at Cincinnati, Monday Night Football.
Yeah, we already talked about Pittsburgh. They let's just put it this way. They have no center who's the anchor of their offense. He's hurt for the year. They have no running game. They have they're in disarray with their offensive coordinator and their receivers. They're missing Mike Wallace and because he's in Miami, and the other receivers don't look like they're even stepping up. So it's just too much. Cincinnati all the way.
Yeah, Cincinnati to destroy Pittsburgh. You're right. The team just looks so bad right now. They have no Heath Miller also, so they have no tight end, no offense. I mean, they don't even know who the starting running back's going to be. They got Redmond who fumbled. They benched him, and they put who knows. Felix Jones came out and said that he doesn't really know the playbook. So
yeah, they just signed Jonathan Dwyer back off the street.
They got Dwyer back because they realized maybe this was the better back.
Yeah, they don't look like they know what's going on offense right now. So the only way they can win or maybe even be in the game is if their defense keeps them in it.
Yeah, and I don't see that happening against the Cincinnati team that has a very good offense and definitely a good front four that can easily destroy. And we already saw him get sacked, 5 times last week. Easily another 6 sack, 7 game for
Cincinnati might beat the living daylights out of them this week.
That is our pick'ems, people. JT, you want to end the show?
Yeah, don't forget to leave comments. If you want to tell us your picks, leave all of your picks in the comment section. That's the way to pick. If you want to pick against us, if you so to speak, we'll look at them. We'll check out your comments and we'll tally up your picks. And if you beat us, maybe I'll post it and talk about it in the next Pick'em show on Saturday next week. But leave comments, rate, subscribe, leave feedback. Let us know how you feel about the show. Let us know if you want any improvements or what we can do or whatever. We're always welcoming feedback, and we always like input from our fans. So for JT Magnum and
Ziggy Guns,
Fantasy Football Fiends, we out. Enjoy the NFL weekend.